first advice I would pass on to anybody who finds himself in the situation that I was in is make sure you've got a good lawyer. So what's a good lawyer? It's not just somebody that you like, it's somebody that you know has got the expertise, the resources at their disposal to give you absolutely tip-top advice, because you're not going to get it from anywhere else, and your brain's likely to be pretty fuddled. So I'd say you've got to make sure you get a top advisor to help you through this minefield. When you're in a situation like I was in, that you're going through this horrendously stressful experience of separation and then divorce, I found that I'd got friends and family rallying round and just pushing advice at me right, left and centre. And frankly, this actually was a little bit dangerous because I don't have any family or friends who are experienced divorce lawyers, but that didn't stop them from wanting to give me guidance on what I should do. So my experience was that the best way to get that advice is by having a very, very good and competent lawyer. Use family and friends for emotional support only. That would be my thoughts. I found it really important to lay down a plan and a strategy with Helen Jane at Benussi. The reason why I found that so important is because, you know, we're used to in business situations complex scenarios that maybe have quite a lot of variables and a lot of things that could go right and could go wrong. This is off the scale compared with any of those business situations in terms of complexity, emotion, and just the fact that there are humans involved, you know, the human capital that's involved. So I found it very helpful and encouraged me to be clear-headed about it, to actually lay down a plan with possible options and scenarios and then kind of stick to it. It sounds a bit premeditated, and I guess it is, but I think having that sort of plan is reassuring, and it helps you through the dark moments when you can look at that plan and think, no, this is the right way to go. No matter what it feels, no matter how unfair it feels, this is the right way to go. One of the hardest moments, I think, in this whole situation is no matter how good your plan is and how clearly you've thought it through, excess start flying at you from all sorts of directions. Emotion off the scale is just unbelievably stressful. And it's those moments where we have to stick to the plan, in my view. Those are the most important moments to try to remember. Now, hold on. This is what we're trying to do. This is where we're going. I must not allow myself to be dragged in to this emotional warfare, whether it's from your estranged partner or whether it's from their life. It doesn't matter where it's from, frankly. It's really important to try to stay calm, and also for the sake of your children. You know, having a big scrap and a big war is really bad news for them. I found it really hard to be able to think intelligently and rationally all the time during this long process with so much emotion, so much anxiety, just so much disappointment, so much sadness. But I still feel that it's one of the top things that we have to do, because if we're not thinking rationally, that I think is when things are more likely to go wrong, to get more difficult, and that will extend the process, drive up costs, create more unhappiness. So I think it is really important. It's back to having that plan again. Just try to be rational. Try to do the right thing and try not to react to all the emotion around you. A lot of parties that might claim to be victims in the process of separation and divorce, whether it's the wife, the husband, brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, but the real victims centre stage, in my view, are the children, because they're the ones whose world has literally been shattered, been turned upside down by the fact that mum and dad no longer seem to be happy together. So the love that we have for our children should be unconditional at all times, but particularly during this process. You've got to try so desperately hard, and it's not easy. Try not to have them involved, to be used in any way, in the wrong way. Try to do whatever is possible to protect them from it. It's difficult, but it's really about, I found it was about having the disagreements and having the process conducted as privately as possible and sheltering them from it as much as possible. I found myself, and also talking to too many people, sadly, who've gone through separation and divorce, that a big focus tends to be around the division of wealth. Whether this is a big wealthy estate or even modest wealth within the relationship, so much focus, so much emphasis and so much argument seems to centre around it. I don't want to be completely impractical about this, but I did feel that that was getting in the way. And I therefore have a very strong opinion on this. I think it's just as important to focus on health as an outcome and not just wealth as an outcome. And that, by the way, there's a sanity check around that. That means that maybe we have to be a little bit more understanding, a bit more tolerant, maybe even just a bit more generous in order to arrive at an outcome that will bring about more harmony, if that is at all possible. I think what anybody who goes through separation and divorce realises, and all too soon, is that this is not a short game. It just takes time. It's about process, it's about bureaucracy, it's just about all the legal steps that have to be taken, and that's before you get to the potential for disagreement and dispute between the parties. It's a long process, and I found that it was very frustrating a lot of the time. So I guess we have to be prepared to endure that frustration, to tolerate it. This is probably going to be the ultimate test of your patience, because this isn't like anything else. It's not like some kind of a sporting challenge or even a business challenge. This is about life, happiness, children. It's big. One of the things that really got me through the stress of the process, because initially I found that I wasn't sleeping very well, I wasn't focusing and concentrating during the day on my job as well, because I was worried. What was I worried about? Try everything. I was just constantly worried. And then a good friend of mine suggested, look, you know, what you should do is you should step up your Keep Fit campaign, because you're going to need top health, top fitness to be able to function and get through this. So I did. I just literally went to the gym 2 or 3 nights a week. I'm not a big gym fanatic, but I did it, and I found that that helped me. I mean, being practical about it, yeah, maybe you smoke, maybe like me, you like a glass of red wine. It makes all of those things, you know, gives you a bit of an offset, and also just allows you to maybe get the sleep that you need, because you need to stay fit to tackle this process, because otherwise your judgment mentally is also impaired. So I'd say it's really important to look after yourself. I am by nature a positive thinker. I'm a positive person. Everybody tells me that I am. But if there's one time in your life when you need all the reserves that you have of positive energy, surely to goodness it must be if you're going through separation and divorce, because everything about it screams negative. I mean, what is there to feel good about when you're going through this process? Very little. But at the same time, if you allow yourself to sink into a sort of negative, morose state, it's just going to be even worse. The chances are you're not going to make the right judgment calls. So it's easy to say, but it's really important that we try very, very hard to remain positive. Eventually, the process is ended and life can start to return to normal. So, you know, there is a rainbow out there. It's just believing that it's there. It'll take time.